Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to make together homemade bread from scratch that is made from 100% whole spelt flour, and we're starting right now. Okay, so this recipe is actually based on a recipe from Jenny Can Cook blog or YouTube channel. A good friend of mine that I met online, Rita, introduced me to this recipe. First I tried it with white spelt flour, and then when I saw it turns actually perfect, I tried making it with whole spelt and white spelt, and when I finally got the courage to do it only with whole spelt flour, I did it and it actually was the best bread I've ever made. So today we're going to make this recipe that is only from whole spelt flour. Just a quick few notes before you start making this recipe at home. If you do, you're going to need some kind of a Dutch oven or a Pyrex like this with a lid. To this bread you can add whatever you want. You can make it an Italian type of bread with some Italian seasonings and olives, sun-dried tomatoes, or make a sweet bread with some raisins, cranberries, sugar, cinnamon. You can do whatever you want with this basic recipe. Today I'm actually going to add some olives, some Italian seasonings, and some onion powder. But this recipe is super versatile and you can do absolutely whatever you have in mind. So without any further ado, let's get started with the recipe. So I have here a bowl and a sift because I like to put my flour through a sift before using it, and we're going to need 3 cups of flour for this. That's 2 cups of flour. Let's add the 3rd cup. We're going to add to the flour 1 1/4 teaspoon of dried yeast. I almost said nutritional yeast, but this is not the case. So since I'm using Italian seasoning with salt in it, I'm not going to add 1 teaspoon of salt to this mixture. If you're adding, for example, olives, they're already salted, so don't add the same amount of salt. But if you're making this mixture with just the plain ingredients and not adding to it anything, then add 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to add to this 1 teaspoon of Italian seasonings, and also some onion powder because I think it will really go well with the other seasonings. If you're adding any additions to the bread, then this is the time to add them. I'm going to add right now some olives and mix them in. Now to the final step, we're going to turn on the tap water, make them a little warmer, and then add 1 1/2 cups of water. So that's 1 1/2. Let's mix it up. I wish you could smell through the camera. It smells absolutely amazing, and once you're going to cook the bread, the whole house is going to smell like a bakery. Okay, so this is the texture I'm looking for. Once this is the texture, we're going to cover it with some plastic wrap and a clean kitchen towel. I like to turn on my oven to the lowest temperature possible, so 30 degrees Celsius or this Fahrenheit, and let it rise there because sometimes in winter the temperature is not ideal and the dough doesn't rise in the same amount of time or as good. So I just like to put it in the oven, and that way I can know that in 3 hours I can continue with the next steps. Let's just cover this. If you have a reusable one, it would be even better, but I do not have one, so I'm going to use this instead. Okay, so this baby is going inside the oven for 3 hours, and I didn't even mention, but this video is going to include not just the bread recipe, but 3 spread ideas that you can spread on this beautiful bread. All of them are going to be savory, but of course, if you're not making this bread savory, then you can totally just spread some jam, vegan butter, peanut butter, or whatever you like on it. I'm going to place this to rest in the oven, and we're going to make the 3 spread recipes. For this spread, you're going to need 150 grams of cooked black lentils, 50 grams walnuts, 1 big onion caramelized in some olive oil, and a little bit of sugar if you want, salt and pepper to taste, 2 tablespoons olive oil, and blend very well until smooth. If you want, you can also add 1 garlic clove. For this spread, you'll need 1 cup of cashews soaked in boiling water for 10 minutes, 1 garlic clove, 1/3 cup of water, salt, handful olives, and the juice of half a lemon, and blend until smooth. And for the Matbucha, I have a separate recipe video for it. You are more than welcome to check it out. If you'd like, I'm leaving you a link right here in the top right corner of the video. Okay, so it's been 3 hours since we let the dough rise, and now I placed inside the oven the Pyrex on 450 degrees Fahrenheit or 230 degrees Celsius. Now we're going to fold a couple of times the dough with this spatula, or it's not a spatula, I don't know how it's called. Place it in a different bowl with some parchment paper inside it so it won't stick to the bowl or to the Pyrex later when we place it in it. So I'm going to show you a little hack with the parchment paper. You just take the parchment paper, put it under the running water and squish it really well so it will absorb all the water, and then it gets softer. It doesn't rip or anything, but it gets softer, and you can just place it in a bowl, for example, and it gets kind of the shape of the bowl. So let me just wet this parchment paper and I'll show you how to do it. Okay, so I got the parchment paper, I wetted it really well under the running water, and now as you can see, you can pretty much fold it to whatever shape you want. So I'm just going to take this bowl and place the parchment paper inside it. Okay, so this is how the dough is looking right now. As you can see, it is very runny, but this is the texture you want. It looks beautiful, it smells amazing, and it is almost ready. Okay, so she suggests folding it about 12 times. The dough looks absolutely perfect. So now all I'm going to do is just transfer it into this bowl with the parchment paper, and once the oven is ready, it is time to place it in the oven. We have to be very careful because the Pyrex is super hot. So if you have oven gloves, then you should definitely use them. I don't have them, so I'll just use 2 kitchen towels. Okay, so I have the hot Pyrex right over here, and I'm going to move the dough inside of it. What I also like to do is to just sprinkle on top of it a little bit of quick oats and some pumpkin seeds. It gives it a really beautiful rustic look. So now we're going to just place the Pyrex lid on and place it in the oven for 30 minutes. Okay, so I took it out of the oven after 30 minutes. Now we need to take off carefully the lid and take out the loaf and put it back inside without the parchment paper. Okay, so now I'm going to place it back in the oven for another 15 minutes, and then we're ready for a taste test. Okay, so the bread is now ready. I cut it up, it looks beautiful, smells amazing in here. We have here the cashew cheese with some garlic and olives, as well as the Matbucha, which I have a video for, like I told you before. And finally, we have the third one, which is a lentils, walnuts, and fried onions spread. So now the fun part, the taste test. This one is the cashew cream cheese. Creamy, cheesy, just the right amount of garlicky. Now the Matbucha I've tasted a ton of times and it is spicy and super delicious, but I'm going to give you a taste test anyway because I get to eat more bread and more Matbucha, so why not? Now to the final test, which is the lentils, walnuts, and fried onion spread. Personally, if I only had one spread to choose, I'd probably choose the lentils one, which is weird because I love Matbucha so much and this cream cheese is incredible. When I say cream cheese, I mean cream cheese, like vegan cream cheese. Let's just get that out of the way. Which one of these 3 spreads would you make? Leave me a comment down below and tell me. I'll probably finish this whole loaf of bread and the 3 spreads. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to give me a like and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. Thank you so much again for watching, and I'll see you next Monday. Bye bye.